What's up guys, Josh here from Mixing Mango, and today I want to talk a bit about bossing. There's been quite a lot of boss related updates recently, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about them. And actually the direction that Jagex seems to be moving in with bosses, which actually it's not really moving into, it's sort of taking a step back really. Because what I see is they seem to be going back to pre-EOC, which sort of pre-EOC you kind of need like max stats and gear to boss, and they seem to be doing that again, which in my opinion is actually quite good. I mean, that might just be because I have those stats and gear, but I actually do quite like that idea, in that bosses you do need really good stats and they are actually hard again. So what we're kind of talking about is the only really easy boss now is Bandos. I mean, like, if we're talking about proper bosses, I'm not gonna talk about like KBD and stuff like that, but so if you look at it, it's pretty much only Bandos. Like Armadillo, Sarah and Zamorak are actually really quite hard now. Like I can do all of them, but not as easily as I can do like Bandos I actually need food. The rest of them you got to take a lot of food and you do get hit a load, so they are actually really hard now. QBD, they buffed that just this week, and apparently now you pretty much need Drygores to do it. Like, it's extremely hard without, and that is how it was pre-EOC. Like, they couldn't do much with it because it dropped dragon weaponry, but it was supposed to be like the hardest boss after Nex, and so it's not really there, but they've actually have buffed it, and it is a bit more difficult now. So I mean, that's always good, and it is sort of like it's kind of reclaimed its title, I guess, of a hard boss again. And then we've got Nex, which they sort of designed it for Drygores now. I mean, you can't do too much with Chaotix on Nex. Like, you definitely need max gear and stats for Nex now. And then you've got KK, which recently got a buff as well with the QBD update. And so now it's a lot harder, the minions hit a lot more, and like I think you got to definitely hybrid, maybe even tribrid now, but it's just generally a lot harder. So they do seem to be moving to making these bosses harder and actually require very good stats and gear. And actually, I didn't realise how much stats mattered, but I was looking on the equipment screen recently and I saw that I actually have more like defense from my level than actually from my Bandos, and so that is how much the stats matter, and that's 99 defense. So stats do actually matter, and so like you kind of do need really high stats for like these bosses now, it looks like, because I think you can definitely, I mean, you could probably do any boss really with lower stats, but if you want to do it effectively, then you definitely need these high stats, it's looking like. And yeah, like I said, I quite like that. That's kind of going back to like how pre-EOC was, where sort of if you wanted to do Bandos, you needed Chaotix, Term, Overloads, and like full Bandos really. And it's not, I mean, like Bandos is kind of a bad example now, that's the easiest boss really, but I mean, you definitely do need high gear and stats for the rest of them if you want to do it effectively. Because like, even like I said, I have pretty much max combat at the moment, and like even I can't just completely steamroll over like Kriara or anything. I actually do need a lot of food at Armadillo and Zami, and Sarah is the same. I haven't actually tried Sarah recently, or like the recent one I have actually tried is Zami, which even in Drygores is very hard. I mean, I reckon it was kind of a bit easier in Barrows, but I mean still, like, it is a hard boss now once again, so that is quite nice. I would say I do enjoy bosses being a challenge, even the God Wars bosses. I think I'm not really sure what my opinion on like the kind of what they drop is though, because I used to think that a boss should be designed for the levels of the gear it drops, kind of, so that you could kill it with a lower tier. So like for God Wars, it drops level 70 gears because you should be able to kill it in Dragon, which I don't really agree with anymore. Like, I mean, it kind of seems ridiculous, sort of killing Vandals in Dragon, but I mean, that's kind of what they were doing. Sort of like at the beginning of the EOC, bosses weren't hard at all. But I think they now brought it back in line if you do need these max stats again. But I'm not really sure about that, because Like QBD is probably the best example. It's supposed to be harder than X and one of the hardest bosses in the game, but it drops with Dragon Kite Shield. So like, are they supposed to make it so that it's supposed to be killed by like guys in Rune? I mean, I don't know. I think they've kind of taken it in a good direction, sort of, where it's now down to sort of the guys who train their stats and got the good gear to sort of supply the gear for the like everyone else, really, so they can actually kill the bosses effectively. But like, I'm not quite sure about like who should be able to kill it, and if it should only be like these maxed guys, or if like you should, if you're that level for the gear the boss drops, you should be able to kill it. I'm not really sure about that. I mean, leave your opinions on that in the comments, because I'd like to hear, because I don't really know. Like I said, I think it should be for high levels. Like, really, any boss they release should be for high levels. And so I guess, yeah, maybe it should pretty much be for the max guy should be bossing. But I mean, I might be a bit biased because I am pretty much max combat at the moment. But I want to hear what you guys think about this. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later.